This is the Osprey Exos 48-litre rucksack. I've had it for about 3.5 years. It's done, I reckon, 2,000 miles plus of backpacking with me. Been on lots of adventures. So in today's video, what I want to do is explain to you what I really like about this rucksack, some of the things that perhaps not so good, but why it's still an essential bit of kit that I'm going to be using this year. So my wife Judith and myself each bought one of these rucksacks to do the coast to coast walk back in summer of 2020, and we both had, well, the old Carrymore Jaguar rucksacks that, crikey, must have been 30 years old, that were quite heavy, so we were looking for something a bit more lightweight. The reviews for these at the time seemed to be pretty good, so we took the plunge and bought them, and I've got to say it's been a fantastic bit of kit. I mean, since then it's done 2 major backpacking trips. I took it on the Scottish National Trail, which is over 500 miles. We both used our Exos rucksacks when we did the Colorado Trail, another 500-mile trail, and we've also used it on lots of shorter trails in the UK backpacking trails, so for example like St Oswald's Way, Shropshire Way. It's been on the Northumberland coast path, so yeah, it's had lots and lots of use. I've also used it as well for some winter backpacking as well, so it's managed to cope with all my winter kit as well, so it's been a really versatile, well used piece of kit over the last 3.5 years. So one of the issues with any out-of-box reviews that you watch, that you never know how well the product is going to perform over time. And when we first got these Exos rucksacks, the thing that struck me first of all was, well, how lightweight they are. I mean, they're only just over 1 kilo in weight, and certainly much lighter than our previous backpacking rucksacks that we'd had. And as a result of that, I was a bit concerned when I looked at some of the materials, you know, some of the buckles and some of the straps and some of the webbing that was on them. I had some concerns about how durable they were going to be. I've got to say, any of those concerns that I had out the window. This rucksack has been amazing in terms of its durability. I mean, I haven't looked after it. I don't think it's had a wash in 3 years, and it's been thrown around, chucked on the floor, in mud, through hawthorns, everything, and it's just stood up to it remarkably well. The materials that it's made out of certainly are very lightweight, but also high quality. All the buckles, all the straps function perfectly well still. Obviously some of the webbing in places has worn through and might need a little bit more of perhaps a repair on, but everything about this rucksack is still 100% functional as it was the first day I bought it. So durability wise, you can have no concerns at all regarding this rucksack. But if durability is good, the great thing about this rucksack for me has been comfort. Because obviously, having walked, 2,000 miles with it, it has to be comfortable, and it is just a really, really comfortable rucksack. I think obviously that's helped by the fact that it's lightweight, but this back system just works fantastically well. So it's kind of I don't know how you describe it, it's like sort of like a little trampoline on the back. So the main rucksack compartment sits off your back, and I just find that really works. I mean, obviously you're still going to, you're going to get, your back's going to sweat. It's bound to do, you're carrying a heavy weight on your back. But I found it to be really comfortable, even on those days that you get when it's rainy and a bit clammy and you're sweaty and you're waterproof. I found the rucksack has stayed, remarkably comfortable on my back. So I've been able to carry it for long distances without feeling a lot of discomfort. Now often, particularly on your longer days, I always tend to find that, you do find that your shoulders do get sore from carrying your pack over such a long distance. And on first viewing, when you look at the strapping on here, compared to some other rucksacks that you see, you think, oh cracker, the padding looks a little bit flimsy, but it isn't. It works really well. it's not super padded, but it's padded enough. So I found, even, you know, on those long trails like the Scottish National Trail, where on some days, you know, I'd be, you know, walking 12 hours plus in a day. Oh yeah, your shoulders get a bit tired, but not ridiculously so. And I've never had any sort of abrasions or soreness across my shoulders at all carrying this rucksack. Let me have a chat now about the capacity of this rucksack. So when we went to buy them, we had three options. There was a 38 litre, a 48 litre or a 58 litre. The temptation, I think, is always to go for the biggest option, you know. But I made myself pick the middle one, the 48 litre one, and Judith actually got the 38 litre one. First of all, I would say is it seems a pretty generous 48 litres, but also what I've really liked is it's made me think carefully about the kit that I take on my backpacking trips, because I haven't got an unlimited amount of space. So I've had to consider carefully what I take, and I think that's been really useful because it's meant that I've been able to keep my backpacking weights relatively low. And there's no doubt that when you're doing any sort of trip, long distance trip, if you can keep your weight low, it makes it more comfortable, makes it more enjoyable. So I think for me this 48 litre size has been absolutely perfect. As I mentioned before as well, I've even managed to carry on my winter kit in it as well. So what do you get? Well, you get one very large main compartment. Nice and simple, nice and straightforward. There's no, you know, dividers in there or anything, because they're keeping the weight as low as they can. Just one big cavity. And I find that's great. Get my sleeping bag in there, get my tent in there. It's relatively easy to get stuff in and out. No problems there, I like that. One big cavity, easy to use. You then get a hood, which can be removable if you want, although I've never needed to do that. And it's actually surprising the amount of space you can get in this hood. So it's got a zipped one on the top, which, yeah, it just seems to swallow lots of things up. It's great. And also a mesh one on the inside. So again, it's easy to organise. I find, you know, things that I want close to hand during the day, I'll put in the top there. Things that perhaps I'm not going to need, like first aid kit, tent repair kit, stuff will go in there. But surprisingly cavernous. And then down the sides, it's got, again, a nice big mesh pocket here. This works well for things like your drinks bottles. Got one on the other side. You can put in there things like food, hat, gloves, whatever, things that, again, that you want perhaps during the day that are relatively accessible. What it hasn't got is big side pockets. It hasn't got waist pockets, which when I first got it I thought, oh crack, I'm not going to like this. Not missed it at all. Judith a little bit more so, me not missed the waist pockets at all. If I'd needed to carry anything on my waist, I'd carry a little waist pouch, you know, sort of things with like my GoPro in. But I've really enjoyed the fact that this is really simple in terms of where you can store stuff, and again it makes you think, it's made me think carefully about how I'm packing my rucksack, where I'm putting my gear, and keeping the weight down. Oh, one last thing I did forget to mention as well was it also has this big pouch on the front which you can unfasten, and that's nice. I think I put things near like my sit pads, or I'll sometimes put my waterproofs in there if it's sort of one of those sort of showery days where I only get my waterproofs on in and out. And again, that's a nice space to have there on the front of your sack as well if you need it. Crack, it's so warm here, I've had to set my jumper off. Lovely, lovely spring day. Now when it comes to adjustability, there's not a lot of bells and whistles on this rucksack. So when we bought ours, we had a choice of 3 sizes, small, medium or large. So we had to measure our backs to work out which size we needed to buy. I think mine was a medium. Oh, I don't know, it might have been a large, I can't remember, it might have been of a large. Anyway, so that then fits your back the correct size. When it comes to carrying it then, you've got a waist belt, which when I first looked at it I thought, crikey, there's not a lot of padding on this waist belt. You know, we see some rucksacks, they've got like, you know, huge foam pads on them. not much on it at all. I've got to say, just really comfortable. So it's just easy to adjust, and it just always sits really nicely on my hips, and I find I can, you know, carry quite a lot of weight on my hips as a result. So not massively padded, but really comfortable. And the same here for the chest strap and shoulder straps. Again, not masses of padding on them, but the padding that they do have just seems to, for me, work really well, really comfortable. And it's got an adjustable shoulder strap there as well, just holds it nicely. Yeah, and everything just fits really nice, just feels comfortable. I mean, even this feels comfortable. I could go to sleep with this on me now, look at that, lovely. But yeah, really comfortable rucksack to wear. Now when it comes to other features, there are not masses on this rucksack, but there are some. So you do get space for a water pouch. If you use a water pouch, I never use one, but there is one there if you need to use it. There is a kind of a secondary hood, so if you want to take the main rucksack hood off, you can do, and then just use that one instead. I suppose saves a little bit of weight if you wanted to do that. Talking of covers, the waterproof cover that you get for this rucksack, which you need to buy separately, is just superb. Very good. Found it fits the rucksack really closely, works well in wind, heavy rain, and certainly keeps the majority of the water out of your rucksack, which is really useful. So I could fully recommend the waterproof cover that you can get for it. There are also some adjustable straps that you can use if you need to carry some stuff on the bottom. The only times I've used this is during the winter. So if I'm taking my winter tent, which is obviously bigger and heavier than my summer backpacking tent, I've carried that on the bottom. Not quite as comfortable, but it still works fine. Aside from that, any other features on this thing? There's a squidgy thing here that I'm not really sure what that does. There's another squidgy thing. Where is it? Oh, I don't know, on here somewhere. Yeah, on here. There. Not really sure what that does. Probably for something to do with your poles or something. But yeah, I found I can carry, you know, my ice axe on this as well externally when I'm using it in winter. So yeah, not again millions of bells and whistles on it, but I think, yeah, everything there that I've needed. Now when me and Judith bought these Exos rucksacks, they cost us just over £100. I want to think it was maybe about 120. And I ummed and ahed about it because, I mean, there are cheaper options out there, but I've got to say sometimes I think you do pay what you get for. You do pay what, you know what I mean. You get what you pay for. And I think in this case, actually, when you think about it, it's probably cost me about 5 to 6 pence per mile at the moment. And believe you me, there are a lot more miles left in this rucksack yet. I've no reason to want to change it at all at the minute. I love it, it's really comfortable. Hopefully it's got another 1,000 plus miles left in it yet, I would think even not more so. So although it was an outlay, a costly outlay at the time, absolutely no regrets about it. When this does go, I'd have no doubts about replacing it with another Exos rucksack exactly the same as this one. Having said that, I do believe that the latest version of the Exos has had some modifications. But you know what? If it's anything like this one, I'd happily buy it again. It's been a great bit of kit, this. Taking me on some great adventures, and hopefully got a few more adventures to have yet. Right, better go pack it. If you've got any questions, by the way, you want to ask me about this rucksack, please feel free to do so. And hope to see you again soon.